Knowing that you need to change is not enough. Admitting that you need to change is not enough. Even showing up to the place where change occurs is not enough. If you'll allow me, I want to share an example of my own life. In October of 2018, Wendy and I had been here just a couple months, I preached a sermon. It was in our Core Convictions series, and the sermon was titled Church Life. And in the point, I need your help, I shared this. A few years ago, I would run 7 miles a day and 15 miles on Mondays. But after several different situations, I stopped running. I actually stopped enjoying running. And I'm now fat and out of shape. So I need your help. And that was the point. I'm asking you to help me I'm asking you to ask me how I'm doing. I need you if I'm going to be successful. I need to make some serious changes in my eating and my activity. I want to be clear. I may not always enjoy your input, but I need it. Please don't leave me alone in this. It is important to me. It's important to Wendy. It's important to my kids and to the future generations of Ellis's. And then I asked, how many of you will commit to helping me? That was in 2018. And I believe that was a very sincere ask. But after preaching that sermon, I actually went on to gain another 25. After admitting I needed help, after asking people for help, and many of you did, you came up to me, how's it going? But like the guy at the pool, I had excuses. Well, it's hard. They scoped my knee. My hands hurt. I was in a car accident. I don't have the energy. And I made excuses. And then I started justifying, well, Jesus did his ministry at the table around bread and wine. Why not me? And I excused it away. That's a hard picture to look at. And I truly meant every word I said in that sermon. I really wanted to change. And a lot of you did hold me accountable, but I wasn't ready. And I think there's something to be said. I think there's people that are here that think I need to change, and that's why I show up, but they're not ready. They're not ready to surrender. I wasn't ready to surrender. Surrender's hard.
Yeah.
Because it requires relinquishing the notion that I can do this on my own. And that was the point of this sermon. No one can do it on their own. It was church life. It was the idea behind this point was we need each other. But that brings me to my second point. Special days are impactful. Jesus said to him, get up, take your bed, and walk. And at once the man was healed. He took up his bed and he walked. Now that day was the Sabbath, so the Jews said to the man who was healed, it is the Sabbath, and it is not lawful for you to take up your bed. But he answered to them, the man who healed me, that man said, take up your bed and walk. Before this man was challenged by Jesus, I think a lot of times we think Jesus healed this man. He did, but Jesus challenged this man. Jesus challenged this man on his limiting beliefs. He challenged him on his excuses. He challenged him on his lack of faith. He challenged him on his lack of personal ownership of his situation. He didn't say, let me get you some friends that can put you in the water. He didn't even say, I'm going to put you in the water. He said, get up and walk. There was a real before and after. Before this man met with Jesus, he could not walk. After he met with Jesus, he could walk. In my weight loss and health, it wasn't actually until January 8th of 2021, over 2 years after I had preached that sermon, before I committed to get healthier. I lost 65 pounds in 6 months, which was very encouraging. In my weight loss analogy, there's my before, that was 265 pounds. There's my after, that was 200 pounds. And then somebody took a very loving picture of me at Inez's birthday party at O'Dallas and Joe Neal's house at 215 pounds. This was about 2.5 years after losing 65 pounds. I had gained 15 of them back. And I didn't feel terrible, but my pants were tight. That shirt was definitely tight. You know what happened, though? Nobody said anything to me. When I asked for help the first time, a lot of people came up, but they got tired of asking because I didn't do anything about it. But then they saw me make a change, and then they assumed the best of me. And they stopped asking me. And I wonder how many of us today in our Christian walk have people assuming the best of us when they should be asking us, how are you doing?
That's a very good point.
I didn't go back to eating McDonald's. But man, if you put some M&Ms in front of me, I might hit those. The next wake-up call was in November of last year. I tore the connective tissue between my quadricep and my ACL. I was doing some household chores and I took a bad step and I felt it and it was bad. So I go to my doctor. And I'm like, Doc, my leg is messed up. Fix me. You know what he told me? He says, you're fat. To be fair, he didn't know me when I weighed 265. You know how I left the doctor's office? Fuming. I was offended. He gave me no credit for the 50 pounds I lost. And kept off for 3 years. He just told me I was fat. He said, you did this to yourself. You're not in good shape. Your BMI is this and that. And you know what I was doing? I'm like, this doctor's fatter than I am. Hypocrite. You lose weight. He told me, I want you to lose 30 pounds. I was in his office arguing with him. I don't have 30 pounds to give. Because I knew what it took to take off 65. And I'm like, I don't have 30 more. And I think there's Christians saying, I don't have any more to give. And they're arguing with their Bible every day.
Yes.
And maybe they're arguing with another disciple. And they're saying, well, he's fat. Maybe it's not fat, but maybe he's a sinner too. Why am I going to listen to him that I should change? He's a sinner.
So true, yeah.
So I leave, and I'm with him like, doctor? I left, I got rebuked. I also got called ignorant. I got an art lesson. Then he's like, Da Vinci, the Vesuvius Man was a self-portrait of Da Vinci, and he was a perfect human. You need to look like that. And he was in middle age, and I'm like, dude, leave me alone. Sometimes we have a quiet time, and we're like, Jesus, leave me alone. Get off my case. I will tell you, that was in November. In February, I had calmed down a little bit. I was in the back fellowshipping, and one of the brothers who I love quite a bit, and apparently loves me quite a bit, hits me on my love handle and says, hey, looking kind of thick there. Yes, it was your father. Thank you very much. Sometimes we need a reminder that we're not doing the things that we know to do.
Yeah, tell us.
Since February 15th, I've lost 27 pounds.
Amen.
So apparently I did have 30 pounds to give. Apparently the blah, blah, blah BMI is not so out of whack, possibly. I'm saying possibly because I think sometimes this is an analogy. I hope you can find the spiritual or different or da-da-da or the BMI. Dismiss calls to righteousness as useless noise.
Wow.
And we don't make the changes we know we should make. And we don't become the people that God wants us to be. I would venture to say that most of us have not slipped back all the way to our former selves. But I wonder how many of us are over here off to the right, slouched in a chair with an M&M gut, spiritually speaking. It is time to throw off the bad habits and the excess weight of past sins. Hebrews 12, verses 1 through 3. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, ones here and the ones that go before us, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and the perfecter of our faith, for who the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God.